Have you ever felt a shiver crawl down your spine when the lights flicker? A prickle on the back of your neck when you're all alone in the dark? Tonight, we plunge into the abyss of human fear, into the shadows where reason falters and terror takes hold. These are not mere campfire tales, nor myths whispered to frighten. These are true stories recounted by those who dared to confront their deepest fears. It was a moonless night, the kind that swallows even the brightest headlights in a sea of inky black. I was driving back from a late-night meeting, my mind awash with deadlines and contracts, when I saw her. A lone figure, shrouded in what looked like a white shawl, standing by the side of the desolate highway. Something about her silhouette, the way she seemed to shimmer under the dim glow of my headlights, sent a chill down my spine. Against my better judgment, I slowed down. Maybe it was the late hour, or the eerie stillness of the night, but something compelled me to stop. She got in, her silence more unnerving than any scream. Her touch, as she pulled the door shut, was icy cold, sending a shiver that ran deeper than the chill of the night. I tried to make conversation, to break the unsettling silence, but my words seemed to dissolve into the oppressive air. She just sat there, her head turned towards the window, her face obscured by the shadows. Then, as quickly as she'd appeared, she was gone. Vanished. No trace, no goodbye, just an empty seat and the lingering feeling of dread. I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. I searched for logical explanations, for any rational explanation that could explain her sudden disappearance. Days turned into weeks, and the memory of that night continued to haunt me. Driven by an insatiable need for answers, I started to research local legends, delving into whispered tales of vanished travelers and restless spirits. It was in a dusty old library tucked away in the back corner that I stumbled upon a faded newspaper clipping. The headline sent a chill down my spine. Local woman killed in hit and run on Highway 13. The accompanying photograph, though grainy and faded, was unmistakable. It was her, the hitchhiker, her eyes staring back at me with an unnerving intensity. The article described her tragic demise, hit by a speeding car on that very stretch of highway. The driver was never found. Now, every time I drive down that road, I can't help but feel a cold presence beside me, a silent reminder of the night I encountered the vanishing hitchhiker. The old Victorian house had stood for over a century, its paint peeling, its secrets buried deep within its walls. I was drawn to its faded grandeur, its promise of history and solitude. Little did I know, I was stepping into a nightmare woven from whispers and shadows. From the first night I felt a presence, a coldness that clung to the air. Footsteps echoed in the dead of night. Floorboards creaked under unseen weight. Objects moved on their own, misplaced, returned to their original positions as if guided by an unseen hand. Then, the whispers began. Soft at first, like the rustling of leaves, they seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves. They grew louder, more insistent, weaving their way into my dreams, turning sleep into a terrifying ordeal. I tried to rationalize them, to attribute them to the settling of an old house, but deep down, I knew the truth. Driven by fear and morbid curiosity, I began to research the history of the house. Local rumors spoke of a family tragedy, a young boy who had died within the walls. Some whispered of neglect, others of something more sinister. In the dusty attic, hidden beneath layers of cobwebs and forgotten memories, I found a child's diary. Its pages, brittle with age, held a chilling account of the boy's last days. His words, scrawled in a shaky hand, spoke of shadows that moved in the night, of whispers that promised comfort, then turned cold and menacing. The diary ended abruptly, the final entry a chilling plea for help. The boy was gone, his fate unknown, his presence lingering within the very fabric of the house. Now, as the whispers continue to echo through the empty halls, I can't help but wonder if I'm not alone, if the walls themselves hold me captive, forever bound to the secrets they whisper. It was a Friday the 13th, fittingly enough, when I received a faded postcard in the mail. No return address, just a single image, a dilapidated log cabin nestled deep in the woods. Scrawled on the back were the words, "I'm waiting for you." Now, you know I can't resist a good mystery, and this, my friends, reeked of one. The drive was long and winding, the sun sinking lower with each passing mile, casting long, eerie shadows through the trees. As dusk settled, I finally found it. The cabin from the postcard, more sinister in person. The silence was deafening, broken only by the rustling of leaves and the distant caw of a crow. It was as if the forest itself was holding its breath. The door creaked open as if inviting me into its dark embrace. Inside, cobwebs hung like macabre decorations, and dust lay thick on every surface. A musty smell permeated the air, heavy with the weight of time and forgotten memories. It was then, in the eerie stillness, that I noticed something strange. A child's doll lying discarded on the floor, its porcelain face cracked, a single eye staring accusingly up at me. As darkness fell, the silence of the cabin became almost unbearable. It was then that the whispers started, faint at first, like the wind rustling through the trees, but as the night wore on, they grew louder, more insistent. I couldn't make out the words, but the voices were filled with a deep, unsettling sorrow. Sleep was impossible. Every creak of the floorboards, every sigh of the wind sounded like footsteps approaching my door. I tried to convince myself it was just my imagination, the power of suggestion taking hold, but deep down I knew better. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. The next morning, I woke to an icy chill, even though the sun was shining brightly outside. As I stepped out of the bedroom, I noticed something I hadn't seen before. A small wooden chest tucked away in the corner. It was ornately carved, almost begging to be opened. Against my better judgment, I reached for the lid. As soon as my fingers brushed against the cold metal, the whispers intensified, swirling around me like a vortex of despair. And then, I saw her. A woman. Her spectral form shimmering in the air, her eyes filled with an unimaginable sadness. She was staring directly at me, her translucent hand outstretched towards the chest, a silent plea etched on her face. Terrified, I stumbled back, dropping the chest lid with a loud thud. The woman's form flickered, her sorrow morphing into anger, her eyes burning into mine. The whispers reached a fever pitch, the air growing thick with her rage. It was clear she wanted me to leave, to forget what I had stumbled upon. But I couldn't leave, not yet. Driven by a force I couldn't explain, I began to search the cabin, desperate to understand the story behind the woman's anguish. In the attic, covered in dust and cobwebs, I found her diary, its pages brittle with age. Each entry spoke of love, betrayal, and a grief so profound it seemed to seep from the pages and wrap itself around me. The woman's name was Eliza, and she had been brutally murdered by her lover in that very cabin, her body hidden within the walls. The whispers, I realized, were her cries for justice, her torment echoing through the years. As I read her words, I knew I couldn't leave her trapped in her pain. I contacted the authorities, revealing Eliza's story and leading them to her remains. The man who had taken her life was finally brought to justice, his crimes exposed after all these years. And as the police finished their work, I felt a sense of peace settle over the cabin. The whispers faded, replaced by a profound silence, and I knew Eliza was finally free. And there you have it, my friends, 3 chilling tales that prove the line between reality and nightmare is often razor thin. But remember, this is just the beginning. Our world is full of untold stories, whispers in the dark, and shadows lurking just beyond our sight. So keep your eyes open, your mind sharp, and your lights on. And if you ever find yourself facing the unknown, remember, you're not alone. We'll be right here, delving into the darkness, bringing you more true scary stories that will send chills down your spine. Sleep tight, if you dare.